All right. Yep, we're recording. Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you back to season 3 of Black.Queer.Alive. I was just telling Amarys that this season is fresh, brand new, and I am opening myself and allowing others to open themselves to me to a new process of meeting brand new people for the first time. So this is kind of experimental as well. So Amarys, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm doing well considering, everything that's happening. I'm grateful to be alive and healthy. So
Nice.
that's always a good thing.
I love the white that's going on. Like it's, I feel like you're an angel.
Oh, thank you.
You feel so bright right now. I really like that.
Oh, I'm glad.
Nice. Where are you at right now? Uh,
I am in my bedroom. That's where I'm at. In my bedroom on my floor, just hanging out.
where are you from?
I am from, well, I say Austin. It's like a small town, like kind of like around Austin, but I'm close enough. So I just usually say Austin.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So I gave you the questions. We're gonna just kind of start it off. What I usually do is like riff off of what I hear, things that are interesting. But
Mhm.
please feel free to say whatever feels well. So tell me about yourself. Your we know your name, but your age, occupation, career. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I am 20 years old. My pronouns are she, her. A little bit about me. I am in my third semester of university. I am getting my degree in English.
Nice.
Um, yeah, it was recently, it was nursing up until a couple months ago, and then I made the switch over to English. But yeah, uh, 20 years old, English major. Um, I'm also, I guess, like in terms of an occupation, I am still a student, but I guess my end goal with my degree is to become a professor of English. So I'm
Mhm.
also a writer, mostly a poet, but just in general, all aspects of writing.
Yeah, we have the same. We have the same bachelors. We're getting this. Well, we got the same bachelors. What is? You know what? What is the experience of being a black student in literature or in English? Like, do you have any memories of being in the classroom that you remember? I remember mine, but I want to hear. I don't know a lot of black literature students, especially like in under.
Hmm.
What's that like?
Yeah. I mean, especially like at the school that I go to, my school is diverse, but I
Mhm.
feel like it is mostly like a white school. Um, so I honestly have, I don't think I can even, there's maybe been like one other black person in my in my literature classes. So I kind of feel like the odd man out. It's definitely, you know, a bit odd at times to not kind of, I don't know how to word it. I mean, obviously, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, I mean, going to school with white people. I mean, I am half white, so it's like whatever. But also, I feel like there is, I feel like as someone who is half black and half white, I've always felt kind of like caught in the middle, almost as if I was too white for the black folks. I was too black for the white folks. I kind of felt like I was always just like stuck in between and
Mhm.
never really kind of like fit into either
Mhm.
side.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Um, let's go into that. What what has that experience of been like of just in the world of being biracial?
One big thing I can think of is that, I mean, this is kind of like a heavy topic, but right now in the world, there we are dealing with a lot of like of like racial and social injustices. There's many like killings of African American people, and I think honestly, I live with my white family, so I think that it's honestly really hard because I don't have because it's hard for them to understand, the way I feel about these certain things that are happening because, like I said, they're white. It's this kind of thing isn't happening to them. So I feel like I don't really have necessarily somebody I can like vent to and like cry to about all these terrible things that are happening. So that's very frustrating. And I've also experienced in life, you know, in terms of that kind of thing about like these racial issues that happen, um, people always ask me, oh, like, how do you feel about that? Or what's your opinion on that? And usually people that ask me are like white people. So I always feel kind of like, you know, since I am a half white, they're expecting me to like have some sort of answer in favor of white folks. And I'm like, I don't know what you want to hear, and I can't tell you what you want to hear. And it's just that kind of thing is stressful and it's very confusing and it's something hard to deal with, but I'm trying my best to navigate that.
Do you feel like um do you feel interested in having a discourse with your white family members about racial um injustices, or is it something that's kind of like hush hush, like I is it something that you're willing to explore with them and there's like an unwillingness, or is it like, are you like being tired of having to constantly be like the spokesperson of blackness to your wife?
Yeah, so I feel like in my family, I mean, we have talked about it a little bit. Like my mother, she obviously agrees that it's like a terrible thing that's happening and she, hates the fact that it's happening. So I can kind of talk about this kind of thing with her, but with other members of my family, I feel like there is some bias and I feel like sometimes I honestly feel like maybe there is some like just closeted away like racism or whatever. So some people in my family I don't talk about it with because I feel like there's not really a point. I know that it's gonna cause like an argument or whatever. So I kind of just avoid it and I don't bring it up and I just let it go. Because I'm not gonna, I feel like there's no point in trying to educate somebody that doesn't want to be educated. I'm not gonna waste my time or my breath doing that because all it's gonna do is, it's gonna cause problems and it's gonna make me just feel emotionally exhausted.
I feel you. I feel you. I'm not half white, but um half Mexican, and
Mm.
yeah, I have an aunt. My sisters were pranking family members, and they asked my one aunt. She didn't know that they were on the phone, but they were like, "Do you believe the Black Lives Matter?" And my aunt was like, "Nope." Like,
Mm.
so this is. I feel like people uh who do participate in communities or are a part of communities outside of Black communities experience this from our own family members, and it could just be so exhausting. Like, it's just
Hmm.
ridiculous. Do you have like I think I'm being nosy now, but
It's okay. You can be nosy.
what is, I mean, do you cultivate relationships? What are your relationships with the Black community? Like, outside of your white community, how do you cultivate intimacy and relationships and discourse about your Blackness amongst other Black folks?
I mean, I'll be honest, I just because of like the area I live in, I don't really have many Black friends. My whole life I've kind of just been like surrounded by white people, and that's, you
Mm.
know, who most of my friends are. Um, but I mean, thankfully, all of them are very open to those conversations and very supportive about it. So it's nice that I can like, cry and like vent to them about these things that are happening. But again, it's not the same as, talking to another Black person about this. There's always going to be that sort of divide. So yeah, in terms of like the Black community, I I unfortunately don't really have much. I'm not really a part of that community.
You are. You're here with me right now.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Ha, black words. What is your gender expression, and how do you sexually identify?
So I just, I consider myself a queer woman because I mean, in my definition, queer encompasses like it's a very like encompassing like umbrella term of like just not meaning straight. So yeah, in that sense, I'm attracted to anybody, like genitalia or whatever, or their identity and their expression is not important to me. I'm attracted to people, that's who they are. Um, and then I guess in terms of my expression, usually I express myself like in a pretty feminine way, but I do also kind of like to throw in some like, masculine expressions here and there. I do enjoy that. Um, I think it's funny though, because talking about that, like I said, I enjoy um like incorporating like masculine things into like my wardrobe or whatever. But then I also get like upset when people like misgender me and think that I'm a man. So it's it happens a lot. Like I guess people say that I have very like, I don't know, masculine facial features or whatever, but I mean, I'm like, okay, but like am I still cute though? Like
Yeah.
I'm like, you can think that, but like, do you think I'm pretty? Like so that's kind of funny. But yeah, that's that.
Has that always been a thing for you? You're 20. I mean,
Hmm.
that's it's young. It's like beautifully young.
Hmm.
Um, has that always been a thing for you, or were you always, like this, a butch femme type of human, like came out the womb, like what's up, or was it a process for you to grow into?
I think it was a process. I feel like I always kind of had this sort of like masculine energy in me, but it wasn't until like honestly about 2 years ago when
Mhm.
I like had decided to cut my hair because I was just like tired of it. I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to cut it off for years. I'm just gonna do it. And
It's
I
really
did it. And
nice,
I'm
by the way. I like it.
thank you. And I'm happy that I did it. So I honestly feel like that like my hair was kind of like the last hurdle I had to jump over because once I cut my hair off, I felt almost like freer to express myself in a
Mhm.
way. Um, and that was like also like around the same time that I cut my hair was whenever I started to like completely realize that I wasn't straight.
Mhm.
So I think that, being, I guess, recognizing my sexuality and then combining that with like um, changing my physical appearance, I kind of, I became more self confident, and I felt like I was a lot freer and more able to just express myself.
It sounds like you're becoming,
Hmm.
like you're becoming,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, you're good. Yeah, I definitely like. I feel like every day I'm learning something new about myself. I'm looking back to compared to whenever I was like 18 to now, I'm like, I've done a lot of growth, which sounds like corny, but I
Yeah.
like I was talking to a friend about it one day and she was like, Amarys, like looking at like who you were freshman year, you're like completely different than like who you are now in just like these short 2 years. I'm like, honestly, thank God for that because I'm happy about the growth. I'm happy that I'm more comfortable in who I am. I'm happy that I'm comfortable in my sexuality and my expression, and I'm learning to love myself, which is an amazing thing because I feel like if you were to ask me, like, 5 years ago, like, if you were to tell me, oh, you're gonna like end up loving yourself one day, I'd be like, no, I don't
Oh,
think that's right. But I'm so thankful now that I'm where I am today and that I love myself and I know who I am. Like I said, I'm still learning,
Mhm.
but I'm thankful for how far I've come.
What's your zodiac sign?
Taurus.
Me too.
Yes, yes.
I'm listening to your story and I'm just like, why does this hit on? Like, I just feel I feel like I resonate a lot with this feeling of hope, like this feeling of
Mhm,
becoming, this feeling of emergence, of blossoming,
mhm.
blooming. So yes, Taurus gang in the house. About to come up in 2021. Just FYI. Where do you find home?
Mm. I think I find home in a lot of places. Well, I feel like it also doesn't have to be like a physical place. It can also kind of be like in a feeling. Um, so one place I do find home in is honestly just like in the presence of my grandparents
Mm,
because I'm very close to them and they have like a lot to do with like who I am today. Like when I was growing up for a little bit, my mom and I lived with my grandparents and my grandfather is the reason that I'm such like a huge bookworm now and that I like am a writer because like he's always been like a huge book lover. Like in his house he has like a whole room just for his books and he would always like, you know, sit me down and say, "Oh, I read this book. I think you like it. You should read it and bring it back and we can talk about it." That kind of thing. So yeah, I owe that to him. My grandmother, she makes me feel at home because she's a very honest person. Um, she's also very assertive, but like in a good way. Like she will tell you like if she doesn't want to do anything or she doesn't want to do something, she'll let you know and she'll say what's on her mind and she'll say, "No, I don't want to do that because I just don't want to," and that's that. And I just like admire like her honesty and like her just like strength. And I'm like, I want to be like that one day. I want to be, I want to be that headstrong and just like that assertive and just it's just so cool. And then another place that I find home, this is kind of like yeah, so one thing that I also think of is um, with my friends. I love my friends a lot. And I'm glad that I found people. I've actually found like my group of people that make me feel, confident and like secure and valued. Um, One thing I think of is um, when like earlier this year, I was living in London from like January to like March. It was a really cool experience. And I remember it was me and like 9 of my friends at my university. We're all living in these like apartments on Bedford Place in like the middle of London. I remember like thinking like as time went on, it was like funny how I felt as if I had been like living in London like my entire life. Like I just like, oh, I'm gonna go to the tube station and just go here and there. Oh, I'm gonna walk down the street and go to the store, just buy some groceries. So it was just a really cool thing that I was like there with all my friends and we were just like experiencing this like once in a lifetime thing. And it's like I never thought, if you were to like if I at 10 years old, I never would have thought that I would be living in London for a couple months, in the city, going to all these different places. Like that's insane to me. So I think that in that sense, my sense of home was found amongst my friends, and then also just being in a new place and experiencing things that that were out of my comfort zone and that I've never experienced before. So yeah, I tend to find home in, I guess, in people and then in more so just moments of existence rather than like an actual physical home.
Your story is hitting me on so many levels. I was in London in January too, and I was with my
Really?
yeah, I was with my best friend, and I remember she and I were on the bus, and we looked at each other, and we were like, if we could do this forever and just be with each other forever, that would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yes.
so beautiful. They're so beautiful. Man, thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
Mhm. Can you tell me more about your writing? about your poetry?
Yeah. So I started writing poetry when I was like about 14. I kind of, you know, felt the urge or like the passion for it. And I was writing it kind of just like, whatever. I wasn't taking it seriously. But it wasn't until I was about like 17 that I realized like my full passion for it. And I was like, okay, I want to actually pursue this and make something tangible out of it.
Mhm.
So I've been writing, I guess, not like professionally, but like more seriously for the past like 3 years.
Nice.
Hmm.
What topics, I mean, there's no rules to poetry, right? But
Hmm.
oh, I'm gonna blend these questions. What are you searching for through your poetry?
Mm. I think through my poetry, I am searching for one thing I can think of is I think I'm searching for relief,
Mhm.
because poetry is a way for me to, express things. I usually use it to express things that you know, talking to people about how I feel isn't my strong suit. I'm better at writing things down. So it's a way for me to like get things off my chest. Um, so I'm searching for relief. And one thing I'm also searching for is it's not like that important, it's not imperative, but you know, if I can write something and put something out there that at least like one person connects with,
Mm,
that like that's amazing. Like if I can like touch one person and have them say, this really hit me. I really, connected with this piece or your writing. That that's incredible.
that's powerful. You
Mhm.
yeah, just in hearing you speak, I could already tell that. I mean, I haven't read your writing, but I you could hear it in people in their voice. I feel like you already have that capacity. You're already touching me on some level.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I didn't anticipate this, so it's really beautiful. Um, where do you see yourself in media or in stories? Like, is there any television show, comic book, cartoon where you said, "Hey, that's me,"
Mm,
or book? I think I said book. Yeah.
okay. I'm not sure really about, I don't know. I've had a hard time with that. I can't really, I'm really trying to think. Do I have, ooh, not off the top of my head. I don't know. I can't really think of like a book. Wait, actually, yes, I can. Yes, I can. This
Yeah.
book that I'm reading right now is called it's called A Little Life by Hanya. Oh, I don't know how to say her last name. I'm not gonna say her last name because I'm gonna mispronounce it. But her first name is Hanya Yanagihara. I think it's that. It's a really sad book in general. Which I mean, if you're gonna read it, I like forewarning, it deals with a lot of like heavy stuff, like mental illness and stuff like that. Um, but I guess in that book, it talks about these really close knit group of four guy friends, and it talks about like um their lives growing up and like being friends all the way through college and like adulthood. um so I guess it's like a more general thing, but I really connect with that book because it makes me think of uh friends that I've had like throughout my entire life. Like it makes me think of my one best friend Maggie, who I've been friends with since we were like 10, 11 years old. And then also my other, I consider her more of a sister because her name is Kayla. Our moms had been friends since they were like in fifth grade. So then naturally, yeah, we grew up together. Like there's photos of us like as like babies, like in the bath together, just like hanging out. So I consider her more so my sister. But I think of those two women in particular, um, and I think of like how much I love them, and I think about, I'm reading this story and I think about this group of four guys that have been through so much together, and I I resonate with that because I think of, you know, all the bad and good times that I've gone through with my friends, growing up and then as I grow older. Um, yeah, that's one book that I definitely connect with a lot.
Is there any person like in media or music where you felt connected to? So instead of it there being a story, is there anyone that you
Hmm.
said like, "Hey, I want to be like that person"? Like mine was Janet Jackson. Like
Hmm.
I fell in love with Janet Jackson the moment I got her tape. Like,
Yeah.
and something about her like power just like really resonated with me.
Hmm.
Ownership of her body, the ownership of her story, like taking ownership, and that resonated with me. Do you have someone like that on your end?
Yes, honestly, I'm probably too young to even be talking about this, but Prince,
Okay.
I
Prince.
love Prince so
Yes.
much. When I was about uh 11, I used to be a dancer, and so I was like about 11 years old, and my jazz team did a dance at our recital to You Got the Look by Prince.
Mhm.
um and ever since then I remember being little and being like, man, I like this a lot. And then I would like go home and like ask my mom like, hey, who's Prince, like, who's that, whatever. And I would like listen to his music and everything. And as I got older, like just like seeing like who he was as a person, he kind of like, he was a man, but he wasn't afraid to like dress, feminine, and like kind of like push those like boundaries and like those gender norms. And he
Mhm.
just didn't really care at all. And he looked good while doing it. And I was like, that's what I want to be. I
Yeah.
want to be just like Prince.
Yes, Prince is, there's a universal aspect to him that transcends all time and all space. Like you can hear
Hmm.
his music right now and it feels so true. And you could look at him and just be like, you are not from this planet. Like
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
just feels so it just it's a universal feeling, like a one of a kind type thing. That's so cool. Prince,
Hmm.
Prince
Yeah.
is that person.
And then also
Mhm.
like recently, Grace Jones.
That's another Taurus,
Yeah. Really? Okay. Yeah.
but I'll show you
Because
a tattoo. Grace Jones is the
ooh.
yeah. Grace Jones is the Taurus goat.
All
Boom.
right, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, recently her, like I'm 20 years old, so I'm kind of far behind everybody else. But I discovered her like a couple months ago, and I was like, yes, like I I love her absolutely.
Have you? You should watch her documentary called Bloodlight and Bammy. It's on Hulu.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and it really, Grace Jones has this persona of just strength and badass, and I really appreciated this documentary because she's really she's vulnerable, I mean, as much as she can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerable about her upbringing in Jamaica. And I think that's a side of her, or a story about her that we didn't really get. And then you get to see her on stage with
Mm-hmm.
the ass out and the microphone and the just being Grace at her best. She's amazing. Um, we're gonna do another pivot,
Okay.
and we talked about this. I mean, you talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but we're gonna access a memory. When's the first time you realized you were Black?
Mm, I this is a terrible thing to say, but I honestly think that realizing that I was Black kind of came with like being like bullied in school,
Mm-hmm.
which is a terrible thing. But I, because growing up, you know, just as a kid, you kind of assume like, oh, we're all, the same age. We're all just kids, whatever. But honestly, like growing up and having people like constantly point out that I was like, like different. Different kind of hair. I looked differently or whatever. and like being like ridiculed for that, that was shitty. But it wasn't until about, I think, like, I guess I always knew I was Black, but I didn't really, I always knew I was Black, and then like the ridicule that followed kind of made me like ashamed of it, I could say. And then around like, you know, about like high school, whatever, I kind of just like, I got older and I got like tired of being, made fun of, because I live like in a whitewashed town. I was tired of like, being pointed at or whatever and saying, oh, you're different, whatever. And I'd be like, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm Black, so what? Like what's the problem with that?
Mhm.
So like in high school, I kind of like started like realizing that like it wasn't, I in high school I realized that I shouldn't be ashamed of it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And I was tired of, being made to feel different or weird or what the hell ever because I didn't look like everybody else on the volleyball team.
Yeah.
So in high school I kind of was like, screw you guys, like, yeah, I'm Black and guess what? I'm pretty and I'm a badass and I don't care what any of y'all have to say.
How did you rationalize or process those feelings with your parents? Like, how did they, or with your grandparents? How did they?
Mhm.
How did they prepare you for those moments, for those interactions?
I don't think I was ever really like prepared for it. They never really told me like, oh, just so you know, since you're like, you're half Black or whatever, like people are gonna look at you weird. Um, but I would like come home and like, be upset and say, oh, today these kids, they would like stick pencils in my hair, or they would like, yeah, or they would, say, oh, you got a weird face or whatever, like why do you look like that? And I would like feel bad because that stuff hurts. But I would come home and they kind of just taught me like, Amarys, I know it hurts, but A, everything they say is wrong because you're beautiful, and also B, who cares?
Mm.
They kind of instilled this like this lesson in me that, yeah, the things that people say are gonna hurt, but in the end, these kids are like 10 years old, 14, whatever. Nothing they say matters.
Mhm.
um I kind of learned to kind of like, I don't want to say tough it up, but I learned how to kind of just like let things go and realize that, oh, these words don't mean anything. They hurt, but they're full of ignorance.
Mhm.
So I shouldn't let them weigh on me like that.
Okay. Okay. When do you feel safe?
I feel safe when, again, when I'm with my friends. My friends offer me a big sense of comfort. I feel safe when I feel safe in just like quiet environments. Like I just like, peace and quiet, whatever. Like for instance, if I like the other day I was like at the park for a couple hours, just like hanging out, by the pond, whatever, and just listening to like, quiet conversations happening around me. And I was just like outside and it was nice out. And I was like, I feel really safe right now.
Okay.
It was a nice way to feel. So I feel safe. I feel safe when whenever I know, I feel safe when I'm with people that I know love me, when I'm with people that I know who appreciate me and value me and care about me as a person and the things that I have to say. Um, I feel safe. I feel safe like when I'm happy, like when I'm just like, having fun, enjoying whatever's happening around me. I feel safe. Like actually when I was this is would you think that living in America you wouldn't really feel safe in this kind of environment?
Mhm.
Um, but Like honestly, I miss going to clubs and just like
Same.
because those are fun. Like I was like those are fun, and I feel kind of safe because like I go to like there's some like gay clubs that I go to in Austin, and those are like so fun. Like because
Those
everyone's having a good time.
are,
Everyone's having a good time, and we're all just like dancing around and doing whatever. And I just feel safe. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I feel so happy right now.
yeah, I feel like queer spaces, specifically, dance bar. I mean, I don't know.
Hmm.
Are they like bars? Can you go to a bar? I'm be,
But
but
yeah, so yes, queer spaces.
yeah,
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I feel safe in queer spaces like that. And then in terms of bars, I'm 20. I can go into these clubs. They have bars. I just gotta
like,
pay, out the ass for the entry fee. But yeah, but they're fun, and I love going, and I miss the clubs a lot.
there-
Hopefully, next time if the clubs ever come open again, I'll be 21 by then.
hey,
So fingers crossed.
wait, when's your birthday?
In May 15th.
Okay, whoo, I'm May 5th. I was like, if your birthday,
Ooh, close.
yeah, I was like, oh, she's about to say May 5th. What? No, you said about to say. Queer spaces, man. I mean, I feel like queer spaces are, for a lot of people, like the only safe haven. So
Hmm.
it's been interesting to see how people have responded. People in nightlife, people that participate in queer spaces, how they've responded and not having access to those spaces to facilitate their desires, to facilitate the connections that move them, that
Hmm.
keep them feeling excited about being in this, country, which is all shit. But hmm, let's access another memory. When's the first time you realized you were queer?
The first time I realized that I was queer was when I kissed my female best friend when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, I don't know, like, I remember how it happened. We were at some, like, we were both, like, in, like, a theater production at our local, like, theater. And it was like the opening night after party. And I was talking to her. And I was like, all kids my age were I already had their first kiss, whatever. And I was like, oh, I wish I had my first kiss. I hate this, whatever. And then I went to my friend and I go, and I said, you know what? I didn't even ask her. I literally just said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And I grabbed her and I just kissed her. I
Did,
know. And it
was she
wasn't a it
like that?
wasn't a good thing, but
Oh, oh,
so
okay.
I kissed her. But I remember like it feeling after it happened, I was like, it was like a light bulb went off and I was like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. And after it happened, I like looked at her and she was like in shock and I think she kind of felt something too.
Ah,
But I think it would just like her, like, she's straight, but I think it was kind of just like I caught her off guard, like the, teen hormonal kind of thing. And she looks at me and she goes, what was that? And I was like, I don't know, but I kind of want to do it again.
okay.
I didn't.
What'd you do? How
I
did that work
I
out?
didn't do it again. I didn't do it again. And then she starts laughing and she was like, wait, no, I'm confused.
Oh my
And then she was like, okay, I gotta go. And then she left. And
god.
then and I remember, and this is the friend that I've been friends with since I was like 10 or 11, and we're still friends today. We're actually college roommates. Uh, so I remember she left, and then I was kind of sitting there like thinking about it, and I was like, why was that? And I felt like happy and almost like I had like unlocked something in my brain. And then I remember my mom came and picked me up and I got in the car. And as soon as I got in the car, I shut the door and I said, Mom, I think I'm gay. And she was like, and
Say,
she was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I just kissed my best friend. I think I'm gay. And she was like, she was like caught off guard, and she was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah. Oh, wow,
And
sorry.
then I was like, "You're good." And then I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." Then I was kind of like, I mean, maybe not. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I just like didn't say anything else like after that.
Mom respond to that after to all of your queerness after that moment.
Well, I talked to her about that recently, my mom, and I remember I like kind of like came out to her like about 2 years ago. Like she was like sitting on the couch, and I walked out into the living room and I said, "Mom, I've talked to you." And she was like, "Okay, like what's happening?" And I was like, I was kind of like beating around the bush, and I was like, "So like I've told you that I like, I like boys, but I think I like girls too, and like whatever." And she goes, "Amarys, are you gay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I know.
Oh.
I've known for a while." She was like, "You didn't really have to tell me. I kind of gathered that." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, all right, that's fine. But at least you know that now."
That's so beautiful.
And it's funny, I was talking to my friends about it, and they were all like, "Amorous, we already knew that." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we all knew before you knew." I was like, "Oh, all
How
right."
did you suppose that? Like, what made
I
them?
don't know. Like I asked them, and like someone just said, I have a good gaydar." I'm like, "Okay." But
Okay.
like I guess that's valid. I don't know. But I mean, they all know and they don't care. So that's all that matters.
Nice, nice. If you could go back to your 14-year-old self and talk to them, what would you say?
I would tell her that that you're not straight, and that's okay, and
Mhm.
you shouldn't be ashamed of it, because for years I was like, obviously I was scared to like talk about it, because even I was like confused, because I was like, I don't understand like why I'm feeling this way. I don't understand all these different like emotions and all these labels. But I would tell her firstly that it's okay, like no matter who you love, that's okay, and people are going to love you, and people are going to accept you, even when you feel like they won't. I would also tell her, what else would I tell her? I would say, I would tell her that she's beautiful, because I know that she struggled a lot with believing that, with believing that she was beautiful and that she had, value and worth. So I would tell her, I would reassure her of that, because she does have that and she needs to know that. Um, what else would I tell her? I would tell her that, just in general, I would forewarn her that America and the world is going to kind of go to shit, and there's going to be some scary things that happen. I would warn her of that. Um, but I would tell her that things are going to be okay. That it might not seem like it now, but you are going to get through all the things you didn't think you were going to get through, and you're going to be okay, and you're gonna finally like go to Europe and like see things you never thought you were gonna get to see. You're
Mhm.
gonna do that. You're gonna make some new friends. Um, you're gonna be you're gonna be all right. That's what I would tell
That's beautiful. That makes my heart full.
her.
If you could hear from your 60-year-old self, what would you want to hear?
Ooh, I would want to hear, hmm, from my 60-year-old self. I would want to hear that I accomplished, if not all the things I wanted to do in life, a good amount of them. Um, I would like to hear that I I think most of all that I'm happy, and that I feel like I've lived, a good life, and I've done good things, and I treated people with kindness, and that I feel as though I lived a fulfilled life. Um, yeah, I would want to hear from my older self that I'd also like to hear that, you know, the things that I might be going through right now, that, they get resolved, or even they might not even matter when you're older. Um, I would like to hear from my older self that, yeah, that things get better. You're gonna feel happy and loved and accomplished. You're gonna feel successful in whatever way you think that is.
Mhm.
Like not even just money, just like, feeling in general that you are successful in the fact that you did what you wanted to do, you met your own standards, you met your own goals. Um, what else? I think mm, I think that's it. I think, yeah. Maybe I would also like to hear from her that, you know, maybe she got married and had kids or whatever. That'd be kind of cool.
Mhm.
Um, because yeah, I think I'd be a cool mom. I think I'd be even better grandma, honestly.
Ah!
Um, um,
Oh
yeah,
Lord.
because I wanna be the cool grandma, Um, but yeah, I think just in general, I just want to hear that above all, I I've done good. I did good things with the time that I had,
Mhm.
and I left good impressions on people, and I loved as much as I could, as many people as I could, and that I just, yeah, that I was just pretty much that, just a good person.
Thank you for that answer.
You're welcome.
If you could change your identity, would you? Why or why not? And I expand this question to like, hey, I really just want to be a dragon, or I really, yeah, or like a nebula in milk, in
hmm
part of the Milky Way sky. Like, you could be anything. Would you change?
I don't think so. I'm pretty happy with who I am now. But if I could be anything, if we're being like realistic, I would say honestly, that would be kind of cool to like be like an actor or something, like a big Hollywood actor. Because whenever I was little, I wanted to be in movies and stuff like that. I mean, still kind of do, but Um, but then what else? If I could be anything, hmm, honestly, that'd be kind of cool to like be, I don't know, like a fox. I think foxes are kind of cool. I don't know why. They're just very like elusive and like, ooh, honestly, an owl, because I kind of see those things as like very like mysterious, and like you don't see them often. They're very just like cool little things that hang out in the trees at night and make
Mhm.
cool sounds. So owls are pretty cool.
And they could turn their heads. That always freaks me out. They could turn their
That too.
head.
That too. I want to be able to do that because I can't do that. That'd be kind of cool.
This is my last question. Is there anything in this moment that you really want to express that I may have not touched upon?
Anything I want to express? No. I mean, I hope that, this pandemic gets, better, eventually goes away. I also hope that, you know, with the way things are right now, I do hope that, you know, that things get better. I just want the whole world and everybody to get along despite race, religion, sexuality, political preference, whatever. I just want everybody to just get along and just be happy. I want everyone to be safe and happy and feel loved. And that's all I want. That's how I wish the world was, but hopefully one day we'll get there.
That's all we can do is live into that possibility.
Hmm
Try and create it as much as possible. Which is why I'm happy to do this work, and I'm thankful that you opened yourself to me and and shared parts of your story and your life. I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to like be sitting here and have this conversation. And I'm honored that you like wanted me to be on here. So that's really cool.
You know what? I felt so bad because you were one of the folks that responded to the second season.
Hmm.
I had my, I'm a busy girl, so I had
Yeah.
to be very strategic about who I chose for the second season. But as soon as the third season started, you were one of the first stories that I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna pull over what we didn't do into the last season, pull it into this one. So you are my first interview for the third season, and I'm
Oh,
really
very cool.
I'm
Oh,
really
I feel so. Oh.
how positive it started off. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording right here. Yeah. Oh wait, don't end. Don't wait. Hold up. No wait. No wait. Hold up. Stop. I have to stop it.